Financial. I'm your host, Joshua Dobi. Thank you so much for tuning in with us here, the 4 o'clock hour here on WSIC, as we give attention to and perhaps even spark some conversation regarding items of financial and economic importance. Now, you know, as a previous listener to Dollars and Cents, we're talking on any number of subjects here. We're going to be doing it here again today. Probably, chances are, considering the date, have a little bit of a holiday theme associated with it. I'm not going to promise that I'll promise you, it's going to have a holiday theme associated with it. Probably going to include something on food in there too, because, well, we all like to eat here. But in doing so, as we're talking about companies, investments, those kinds of things, when we're looking at the financial universe, you always remember that nothing that we're talking about here is intended as a specific recommendation for you. Meaning that even though, as we're looking at these things, we may be talking about some things in a positive light, some things in a negative light. Very, very important to remember that everybody's situation is unique, very important, and we advise that you reach out to your tax advisor, to your financial advisor, or if you'd like to reach out to us at North Main Financial Group, love to hear from you, love to chat about your particular financial situation and to see if there are ways in which we might be able to be helpful to you. Online, you can find us at northmainfinancial.com. That's north like the direction, main like the street, financial.com. northmainfinancial.com. We have a contact page on there. Leave us an email address or a phone number and let us know the most preferred and desirable ways for us to contact you, again, at northmainfinancial.com. However, if you'd like to call us here in the studio, perhaps you got a question. I mean, it is that time of the year-end kinds of thing. I hope you're not giving too much attention to this, because it is, I hope it's basically between the holidays and football and food. I hope those are your largest decisions. Those are pretty much my largest. Not really. It's a busy time for us at the office, but I like to give attention to things like football and food, and not always in that order. So I hope you're giving more attention to that. But certainly, if you'd like to give us a call here in the studio, you have a question, we'll work hard to get it into today's show. And but if I miss it, I will certainly bring it up in a future show to make sure that we're giving you the kind of content that you like to hear. 844-STUDIO-4, that's 844-788-3464. That's 844-788-3464 here in the studio if you have something that you'd like to discuss. And, you know, as I'm saying this, Producer Bill, I guess it did occur to me. I'm just now maybe coming to terms with it. Last show of the year.
Wow. Yeah, you are right.
Last show of the year. I mean, next week it's Christmas music, but this the last show of 2023.
Yes, you are correct.
See, so I mean, it's kind of a big deal. We're going to have a little fun with it. All right, that's not saying we don't have fun every week. I think we have fun every week when you're coming in here to Dollars and Cents. But we're going to do some things that are a little bit more, let's say, end of year or holiday specific. All right, and maybe even some anecdotal and fun things to be thrown in. I'm going to start with probably what is the foundational element of the Christmas experience, and that is shopping. Now, Bill, I know we've talked about this. Are you more of an online shopper, an in-person shopper? Do you like to go to the store, touch it? Tell me where you are.
Ideally, I may go touch it. I need to see it. I do like that.
Yeah.
But I do tend to put myself in situations where
Bingo.
I got to go online.
So
There's
true.
just no other way.
I'm already there. I mean, here we are, 21st of December. The weekend doesn't help me out a whole lot either.
No,
I mean,
it does
it's
not.
The day that where Christmas Eve and Christmas fall here is not very helpful. I could have used some more time during the week,
Right.
Which of course we have the same amount of time every year. I'm just complaining at this point. But a couple of detail points when we're looking at the Christmas shopping experience. First of all, estimated number of dollars this year to be spent on gifts and gift giving, $1 trillion. $1 trillion. I'd like to know how the folks who come up with that data actually do, because I mean, if I go on to Amazon and I buy myself a sweatshirt, how do they know if it's for me or whether I'm giving it away? So I would like someone to explain that to me. You know what? Now with what we got with AI and Chat GPT, it probably does know. I mean, you probably could tell by the way I'm looking at it, because I'm sure the camera on my laptop
Right.
is probably doing some kind of facial scan of some kind. $1 trillion. 19 of the last 20 years we have increased the amount that we have spent on Christmas, meaning out of the last 2 decades, 19 of the last 20 years we've increased. The only time we slowed down a little bit was between 2007 2008, as we were approaching some pretty muddy economic waters there. So 19 out of the last 20 years. These data points are coming from the Wall Street Journal. It's important that I mention that as well, because they also mention that from their analysis that there is a higher concentration of spending on experiences instead of things, which I found to be kind of interesting, maybe anecdotal, but kind of interesting when you're looking at where folks are spending their money. And that has to do with all things financial and economic here on Dollars and Cents. Consumer is 2/3, 3/4 of our literally of our GDP, our gross domestic product, or what we produce economically as a country. So what the consumer does is a huge deal. So when we see that the folks are spending more on experiences than on things or trinkets, I think that's kind of interesting. So more perhaps on trips or concerts or other kinds of experiential pleasures instead of perhaps the top 10 list of what to buy. We'll get to that a little bit later on in the show. I do have a top 10 list here. Very, very interesting. I would also like to know who votes on the top 10 lists for the most desirable gifts, because this particular list, very interesting. And so we'll talk about that here a little bit later on the show. A little bit of a teaser right there. But talking about the shopping experience, a little bit more serious here, but it's still very, very important to keep in mind in terms of where folks are spending their money. And it's one particular way. If you buy online, you have an option with many purchases that you make online. Not all, but you have an option with many purchases online to do what's called a buy now, pay later, BNPL kind of structure. What that is essentially a short-term, interest-free, usually very low-cost kind of way to spread out your payments for your online purchase. Most of the ones that I've seen, you got four payments. You could spread it out in 4 payments, 25% of your purchase price there. What's very interesting about that is that optionality, that buy now, pay later experience here for the Christmas buying season, the increase in the usage of that up 25% year over year. Now, it's still only 7% usage. Of all the folks who buy things online during the Christmas buying season, only about 7% use buy now, pay later, but that's 25% more here year over year who are using that. Very interesting to see that kind of thing. Very interesting to see that kind of emphasis. There are probably a whole bunch of positive and negative points that you could read into that. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about those here because it is a single data point, meaning in terms of it increasing 25% year over year. But I think very interesting in terms of how the consumer is making that spend, meaning in terms of where they're not only allocating their dollars, but how they're stretching those dollars, or perhaps from a budget standpoint, trying to make it a little bit easier for them to be able to buy something. And it's better than putting on a credit card. If you don't pay off your credit card balance each month, you're paying upwards of 19, 20, 21, even higher percent per year if you're not paying off your credit card balance. So from a cost standpoint, it certainly has a greater appeal in terms of the cost of the funds or cost of the capital that you're using to make your purchase. But it also doesn't have the same kind of longevity. With a credit card, you can spread it out, say, over years if you'd like to do that. It's going to be very expensive to do that, but you can also do that if you would prefer to do that. So very interesting in terms of the buyer trends. Very interesting. November looked pretty positive, up about 1%. So anyhow, but we're going to take a break here to hear from our sponsors. We're going to come back and talk about some things holiday and financial here on WSIC News Talk Now.
Dollars and Cents with certified financial planner Joshua Dobi will return after this short break on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. From December 24th through January 1st, WSIC will be playing Christmas music all day. And we can't forget about the last few Panthers games of the season. See you in 2024. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and cheers to the new year from all of us at WSIC. Celebrate Kane Center for the Arts' first anniversary gala, along with Broadway star Mandy Gonzalez. Dinner and a show, January 6th at Kane Center for the Arts. You may remember Mandy Gonzalez from her roles in Hamilton and Wicked. This is a black tie optional celebration. All-inclusive tickets include dinner and the show. Happy anniversary, Kane Center. visit cainarts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. Want to see more than 5 million Christmas lights at one time? Speedway Christmas is back. Happening daily, the amazing Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway is happening now through January 7th. The show is open 6 to 10 p.m., rain or shine. The infield Christmas Village is open Thursday through Sunday nights. Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway, now through January 7th. For tickets, visit charlottemotorspeedway.com. Santa is here. Schedule your time to take pictures between now and Christmas Eve in Birkdale. Appointments include Time with Santa and 8 digital images from the professional photographer. For more info and to schedule your time with Santa, visit birkdalevillage.com. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. We're expecting partly sunny skies through the remainder of the day. High temperature this afternoon, 55 degrees. Heading into the evening and those overnight hours, clouds will continue to roll in. We're expecting cloudy skies with a low temperature right around 31 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Check out what's jingling around your hometown on WSIC.
Now more of Dollars and Cents with certified financial planner Joshua Dobi on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Have your say.
Trusting the government to fix anything is a joke.
Be a part of the conversation.
We can't even trust the banks with our money.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
Hello and welcome back to Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial. I'm your host, Joshua Dobi. Thank you so much for hanging with us into the second quarter Football Reference. Great time of the year for football, especially if you're a Carolina Panthers fan. You're doggone right. We're not giving up on them now. No way. We've come this far. We're not jumping. We're not jumping ship. We're going to keep going. By the way, I think I mentioned this past week. Producer Bill, you may have seen this as well. Now let's call some things fair. This past week, and by the way, we're fans here, so we are literally not jumping ship at this point. But last week it was let's say that it was weather-wise challenging to be outside during the Panthers game, meaning we had something just about a breath short of a monsoon during the game. However, I had noticed, and again, I may have mentioned this last week, but I saw it again, 45 cents to buy a ticket. Do you see this? I'm not making this up.
I did see that.
Yeah.
I did see that.
Yeah, 45 cents. Now, I think with fees and all the other stuff, it came out to $10 or $15 for the ticket. 45 cents to go watch a professional football game on StubHub or one of the secondary trading or secondary exchange websites where you can buy professional sports tickets. And I've seen some, or let me say that I have heard from folks who are wondering if that's going to happen here this week. Now, this week we're playing the Packers. So we're playing the Green Bay Packers, and they travel well.
They do. So
I'm assuming that we're going to have a pretty full house. If for no other reason, if you're a Packers fan, heck, even if you live in Wisconsin, the waiting list, like 125 years or something for tickets?
Right. This is your best shot.
Come on down, get a little warm weather. I think it's going to be like 60 degrees at least at this point. So a lot nicer this week as well. Come on down. We'll take your money. You come down and spend it. You stay in the fancy hotels, go to the fancy restaurants. You buy the fancy meals and the fancy drink. We will absolutely take your sales tax money. Come on down. We're ready for you. We're ready for you as the Panthers take it to the Green Bay Packers. All right, I appreciate your indulgence with that. We do talk a little bit of football here, especially this time of the year, and it is good for that. But let's go ahead and pivot back. We were talking a little bit as we were going to break there just about the Christmas buying season, what we're seeing out there. And we talked about this phenomenon of buy now, pay later, and the fact that the usage of buy now, pay later, meaning when you're online and you're buying something, you have an option in many instances to be able to make payments, meaning you don't have to make the full purchase on your credit card. You can enter into an agreement with a third-party source where you can make 4 equal payments over the course of some relatively short amount of time. And about how that usage for online purchases has gone up about 25% year over year. Now, what also has gone up, and you know, I'll hear your argument if you say, well, these are non-correlated. I'm going to say that there's a closer correlation. In the same ballpark of, let me say, observation at this point, at least for us here at North Main Financial, we're starting to, we're working to rather understand where the consumer is credit card debt. And credit card debt in the most customary and normal ways right now. First of all, just sidebar, you heard me say right before break, interest rates on credit card debt, on revolving debt, that debt that you carry longer than a month and that is subject to an interest rate, those rates are significantly higher, 19, 20, 21%, even in the mid-20s, in terms of annual percentage rate that you'll pay on that revolving debt. We're seeing much higher balances now year over year. We just crossed over the $1 trillion mark in terms of the amount of debt on credit cards, which is not paid off on a monthly basis. So we call it revolving, or call it the kind of debt that sits on those credit cards. Just passed over $1 trillion. Even in the last quarter, that debt has increased just because of additional purchases on existing credit lines, up 5%. Now, I don't want to extrapolate and say that that's going to be a 20% run rate here for the next year, but we are up about 30, or have increased about 30% here over the last 18 months, meaning the amount of credit card debt that's sitting out there. That's a concern. It's a concern on multiple reasons because, and again, I don't want to extrapolate too far on this, but when we look at that, we look at the increase of buy now, pay later, we look at other things out there about where the shape-shifting of the spending experience that's out there, it's a concern. Because the very least that's true is that folks are paying an exceptionally high interest rate on something that they bought some time ago. And that's a concern. I mean, you're just paying more. The implication being you don't have the cash, don't have the capital to be able to pay it off. And if you don't, you may be living above your means. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying it could be true. And so that's an important factor because that tends to snowball a little bit. That tends to impact the consumer after a period of time because they're needing to allocate more on a monthly basis towards their credit card statement instead of to other things, meaning from a consumption standpoint. So we're watching that. That's a big deal. All right, let's pivot here. We're gonna do a little fun here in the second quarter. Here we're gonna look at a top 10 list of now a top 10 list. Yeah, I guess there may even be more than 10 here. So I am referencing Good Housekeeping, and I reference Good Housekeeping because, well, at least for folks my age, that is a recognizable name. And I was looking for things, so thinking about the consumer, thinking it's the holidays, but also things all financial. What are folks buying, or what? If they're not buying it, certainly it's being recommended that they buy. I got to read a couple of these. I mean, this is Good Housekeeping, so we're keeping it on the level here. You're not going to hear anything too scandalous in looking at the kinds of gifts. The first one, I mean, this literally is at the top of this list. And again, I got to reference Good Housekeeping. That's from where I'm pulling it. The mystery tackle box. Now, you may say, okay, and if you're not a fisherman, you may not have any idea what I'm saying. But this is a gift that you can buy for that fisherman in your life. And the fun of it is you have no idea what you're buying. Meaning you're just buying a box. It's full of fishing tackle. All right, it has fishing tackle in it, and then it's a complete surprise to everybody until it gets open. Now, Producer Bill, I am not much of a fisherman. Maybe this is a thing, but the fishermen that I do know, they're pretty serious. I mean, about what goes on that line. I mean,
absolutely.
There's no mystery going on there.
Yeah, they got a list.
Oh,
they know what they want.
they know exactly what those. So I found this very interesting. Maybe this is for the casual fisherman or fisherwoman, or perhaps it's somebody who's just wanting to have something that's a little more razzled. I don't know. But I found that was interesting. I thought it was very interesting that it was at the top of this list. All right. Second one on here. And this one I think is a little bit more practical. Certainly I know some folks who would enjoy this. Wireless mobile mini color printer. So the idea behind this is you don't have to hook it up to anything. It runs completely through Wi-Fi. You can print things off of your phone. Your phone connects to this wireless printer, and you can print pictures. I find it very interesting, anecdotally, and yes, I am going to show my age here again. We've basically come full circle. Because when I was growing up, about 145 years ago, when I was growing up, the only way to have pictures was to get them produced, meaning that you took them to a photomat and you got your pictures back. And you had. Then we went to this phase where we had cameras on everything. We're still in that phase. We got cameras on everything. Now it was all digital. We got cloud. We got digital sorts of storage spaces. And now here we are. We're coming back. We're coming back, Producer Bill. See, everything's cyclical. Everything. There are so few original ideas anymore. Now we're coming out with the wireless mobile mini color printer to be able to print those pictures on your phone so we can hold them again. See?
Fantastic.
Very little original idea anymore. Number 3, custom neon signs. This is, again, further evidence that we just run in circles here. Custom neon signs. So again, for someone like my age, basically the kinds of things that you saw in your favorite neighborhood pub growing up, they're back. And so now there is a demand, according to Good Housekeeping, there is a demand for custom neon signs. Have your name, have a phrase, or so. I mean, they call it a bestseller. So I'm assuming that there is some. I have no idea what that means. I mean, the fact that it's a bestseller for whom, bestseller compared to what, I have no idea. But according to Good Housekeeping, custom neon signs are all the. I mean, are you a custom neon sign guy?
No, but I'm kind of looking forward to next year for the mystery neon signs.
Oh. See that now? Wouldn't that be fun? Right. I mean, you make an order, you have no idea what you're ordering, right? I mean, so whatever the manufacturer decides, right. That's what we're sending you.
Right.
And the color, what it says, you have to keep it. There are no returns.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's custom, so I mean, there are no returns on that custom stuff. Amazing. Now, here's something I know folks in my family would like to have, is especially when the temperature turns a little cooler. And I know you folks who are up in the Northeast and the Upper Midwest, you're saying we're a little bit crazy when we say it gets below 50 degrees here and we're looking for a toboggan. But a rechargeable hand warmer. Now, I thought, and again, I know folks who I think would enjoy this kind of thing. So it looks like a packet. I mean, I would say it looks the size of a sugar packet or a sweet and low packet kind of thing. You charge it just like the name says. Charge it up, and then you activate it, turn it on, whatever that means. You hold it in your hand, keeps your hands warm.
You may or may not find that under our Christmas tree right now.
See, so I mean, Good Housekeeping is telling me that it's Amazon's choice, and Amazon being the mother of all things retail anymore. It's okay. See, it's probably under my tree. I don't even know it. Not for me, but for folks who happen to occupy the same address that I do. All right, the next one here, according to Good Housekeeping, reusable smart notebook. So again, it's no original ideas. Now we don't just enter things onto our digital devices now we have this combination of manual writing and being able to upload that to the cloud. It's a circle, everything full circle, especially when it comes to buying behavior here. All right, now things comfortable here in terms of footwear, cloud slides. Now, we call them slides now. I used to think that we called them flip-flops or sandals, but now I've been told they're slides because you slide your foot into them. So cloud slides, implication being they're exceptionally comfortable. And again, as an old man, I'm looking for all things comfortable when it comes to footwear. So it says Good Housekeeping says they're a bestseller. I have to believe.
Sounds nice.
I mean, it sounds comfortable.
Yeah.
To me. So that's good by my. Now here's something that I will need. I do need. It's one of the reasons why I wear cheaters. 12-inch screen magnifier for your smartphone, meaning that you put this in front of your smartphone and it magnifies it, which is great for someone like me who's always holding my phone as far away as my arm will absolutely allow me. This is it's something I could get behind. I think that's something that could work. Well, all right. Well, I appreciate your indulgence here as we're taking a look at some things that folks are buying here for the Christmas season here on Dollars and Cents on WSIC News Talk Now.
More of Dollars and Cents with certified financial planner Joshua Dobi is coming up on WSIC.
Senator Tom Tillis is harnessing the power of clean energy to create a stronger America. Building a clean energy economy will create high-wage American manufacturing jobs and expand opportunities for hardworking families to thrive and prosper. Investing in clean energy innovation will strengthen our electric grid and make it more resilient against natural disasters and foreign hackers. Senator Tom Tillis understands that clean energy is vital to America's economic and national security. To become energy independent, America needs an all-of-the-above energy strategy. Wind, solar, and homegrown biofuels can help break our dependence on foreign energy, create a booming economy, and protect our environment for generations to come. America can lead the world in clean energy innovation. Call 202-224-3121. Thanks, Senator Tom Tillis, for building America's clean energy economy. Paid for by Americans for a Balanced Budget.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. We're expecting partly sunny skies through the remainder of the day. High temperature this afternoon, 55 degrees. Heading into the evening and those overnight hours, the clouds will continue to roll in. We're expecting cloudy skies with a low temperature right around 31 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
This week at Target, get all your holiday shopping done with last-minute deals on must-haves and wants for the season. Discover big deals on toys and tech, plus top deals on clothing, beauty gift sets, and so much more. At Target, find all you need for the holidays. Shop great last-minute deals everyone will love, and get what you need fast with free drive-up. Hurry! Last-minute deals end Sunday. Score low prices and great last-minute deals now at Target. Exclusions apply.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Let's take a moment to appreciate our sweet children, loving grandparents, and eternal soulmates. Now let's use them to save money on wireless. Because with the Straight Talk Silver Plan, you get 4 lines for just $25 a month with unlimited data and no contracts. So add those human pawns, loved ones, and save money. Thanks, kids. They're finally worth it. Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart.
Get 4 lines on Silver Unlimited for $25 per line per month, plus taxes and fees. For data management practices and additional terms, visit straighttalk.com.
Here's a WSIC Business Minute with local entrepreneur Joe Vagnone.
I want to talk about the importance of building relationships. I've been fortunate enough to meet some incredible people, and one of them, all-time favorites of mine, renowned national speaker Steve Gilliland. Steve once shared with me a statement, "If you want to have a friend." These words hold true for personal and business relationships, giving advice, offering your time, and willing to help others. It's the foundation of building strong, long-term relationships. My buddy Steve Gilliland exemplifies this principle in spades. I feel incredibly fortunate to have experienced his generosity firsthand. Success is not about achieving your goals. It's about lifting others up along the way.
This has been a WSIC Business Minute with Joe Vagnone. Listen for tips on how to improve your business daily on WSIC. News, talk, now. Call now to speak with certified financial planner Joshua Dobi at 844-STUDIO-4. It's dollars and cents on WSIC.
Hello and welcome back to Dollars and Cents, presented by North Main Financial. I'm your host, Joshua Dobi. Thank you so much for hanging with us into the second half of this week's show. If you're a 9 to 5, we're looking at here, 25 minutes, 51 seconds. You gotta sprint through the tape. I know it's Christmas, it's the end of the year. You know what? Stand out a little bit because everybody else is coasting. I've talked to now I'm just gonna complain. I've talked to several folks, and they figured it out. I obviously haven't figured it out. Producer Bill has not figured this out, and it's not because he couldn't, but because he just works too hard. But I've talked to any number of folks who basically have December off. It's amazing. I don't know what they're like I said, they figured it out. I have not figured it out. What do you do? Well, I got some vacation built up, and I got these personal days, and if I don't use them, I lose them, and so boom, again, Producer Bill, I haven't figured it out.
Genius, yeah, I have not been that lucky.
I don't even know what that would be like. But that's
right.
Kudos. That's what I said to everyone. Kudos to them. You figured it out. So they can watch more football that way. Which, by the way, speaking of football, We're looking at college football for just a moment. I know you're saying financial, economic. Yeah, football's a huge business. But the number of college bowl games that we have and their names, I mean, some of these names, I mean, it takes up more than one line. I mean, we got all the sponsors and the name of the bowl, and there is a lot going on. With that. I mean, and I'm thankful for the teams that get an opportunity to be a part of it, but I don't know. I mean, my commentary, subjective thought to it, Producer Bill, we may have too many bowl games.
Yeah, you might be right. These are some companies I've never heard of.
No, and I'm sure that's why they're taking advantage of the opportunity, right?
Exactly.
To get their name out there, and certainly I want that when we're talking about folks making investment and doing advertising and marketing kinds of things. But I think we gotta fix the system, because I mean we talked about previous dollars and cents about the 4 teams in the playoffs, and I know the Florida State fans are still smarting about that, so I'm not going to bring that up again. But it's it's big. It's big. I mean, all of these games, big sponsorships, tickets, vacation packages, suites at the stadium. It's huge business, billions of dollars with a B. Big stuff. All right. As we were going to break there, we were talking about top 10 list of gifts that folks may want, and when we're talking about the consumer, we're certainly talking about things financial and economic. Just because I tend to think of things in squared off lines sometimes, I had also to find a list. I'm sure you'll appreciate this. It's the last show of the year, so we're doing some fun stuff here on Dollars and Cents. 13 awful Christmas gifts that nobody wants to get. I figured, because usually what do folks look for, right? What does everybody else want? What's popular? What are folks buying on Amazon? I mean, I get that. So I just talked to the mothership Google and said, all right, what are some gifts out there that nobody wants? And again, I have no idea how they determine this list. Like, is it one person? Do they take a poll? If they take a poll, how many people have voted on? I mean, is it? It's
These are the questions.
I mean, this is what I want to know. I mean, this is what this is how you get a good tight poll of actual public sentiment. Right. I just think it's fun. I mean, so let's look at number one, top of the list, gifts that nobody wants, and I guess this may be somewhat intuitive. Self-help books, because I guess there is an implication if you give someone a self-help book that they need some significant help.
Yeah,
right.
That makes sense.
I guess so. I mean,
I see the logic there.
I think so. Or on the other hand, you could just do it as you're helping someone, but I guess the impression would be that you may be a little bit too judgmental about the cut. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense as you're looking at it. All right, self-help books. Number two, I did not get this. Again, that's why I'm questioning the polling process there. Keychains. I don't really understand. So keychains are very undesirable. Is it because they're inexpensive? I already have a keychain. I mean, I guess it's true. For most folks who drive, you probably do have some level of a keychain.
Right. I've never heard of somebody feeling one way or the other about them.
Yeah. And why would someone have such
dislike.
ambivalence? Yeah. I mean, it's say, whoa, that's offensive. No, I don't know. Again, I'm still not understanding the polling process, but it's kind of fun nonetheless in an anecdotal way. Number three, photo frames, which I found very interesting. Now, I had two thoughts to this. Photo frames, I thought, well, that's because, except as we just told you, that one of the hot things to buy that folks want this year is actually a photo printer. But I thought, well, we don't produce photos much anymore, so we don't have the paper photos. So I thought, okay, maybe that's why nobody wants one. And then I thought, well, maybe, again, it's not as expensive and elaborate enough to impart something. I don't know. I thought photo frame, especially if you put a photo in it, wouldn't that be a personal?
Right. That
would seem connective.
Fundamental, yeah.
I would think
I
so.
feel like
right?
I've done that before.
Went on. I'm sure I have somewhere along the way. I took a nice picture, right? Put it in a nice frame. I don't get it. Number four, clocks. Now, I guess. Now, again, it's showing my age. I come from a time, I mean, I act like I've come from another dimension there sometimes, but I come from a time when clocks were actually a work of art. I mean, you could build clocks, and I know that some folks still do that, not as much perhaps anymore. But so maybe the idea is if you give me some kind of digital alarm clock for the side of my bed, that's not particularly helpful. It doesn't produce a warm feeling of any kind. I have no idea. Again, very subjective polling here. Really not sure how this all went together. Number five, I don't agree with it at all. And it makes no sense to me knowing how incredibly prolific this end of the economic universe is. Pets. meaning giving a pet as a gift is one of the top unwanted gifts, or that makes no sense.
Right.
I think about the number of times that dogs and cats and parakeets and all other kind of stuff are given as pets, and this particular.
I would be a hero if I gave someone a puppy.
I mean, think about it, right? I mean, that would be. I don't know.
Now, a surprise puppy, maybe that's, maybe out of left field. I don't know.
Maybe that's the implication, right? Maybe that's the implication that, okay, I wanted a Great Dane and you got me a Chihuahua. Okay, maybe that's it.
Right.
I mean that I could see could go sideways. I mean, if you had some significantly different, so you may want to do some pre-clearance on that kind of thing, just to kind of get a flavor for it.
That would be the polite thing.
All right, do you like golden retrievers or do you like bulldogs? That kind of. So yeah, I mean, at some level, I think I could, but I still don't.
Yeah, I'm with you. I disagree.
Yeah. So, all right. Anyhow, so again, this list obviously was not done in conjunction with asking Bill or I about our comments on it. So we're just reading it as it comes off the internet, because as the Chief Justice has told us, everything you read on the internet is in fact true. Statement mugs is next. Statement. Now I'm assuming, because I see these things all over the place. So statement mugs, I see pictures, that they have these sayings on them. I see live, laugh, love. I see, your glass is always half full.
Right. Don't talk to me before my coffee.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So, I'm assuming that's what it means. That folks do not want. I don't see why that would arouse such offense,
right,
or anger.
Dislike.
Yeah. I mean, but especially if you're that kind of person. Maybe you are the kind of person who, by the way, I love coffee. That maybe you can't do anything before you have that first cup of coffee. It would seem like that would be a desirable, or at least a non-offensive kind of. Now, this next one I thought was funny, and I can't say I've never done this, but I can't remember any particular instance where I have. The next one on the list: anything that's obviously a re-gift. Now, I get that. That's probably not a good idea. But, I mean, there are ways to kind of work around that, right? I mean, now, if you just keep the same wrapping paper and, I hand you a gift, Producer Bill, and it says, to Joshua, Merry Christmas, okay, I get it. That's right. That's but, I mean, let's say that,
you could separate a little bit. I know, station owner Justin, he's not shy about it. He will re-gift.
I mean, why not? If I don't want it, right, and I know that you do, it seeds like it makes a whole lot of sense.
Right. If you get me a mug that has a phrase on it,
right,
I'm going to re-gift.
Well, I'd probably do the same thing. You know what? I thought that was just very, very interesting.
Right.
That's obvious. So when it said that's obviously a re-gift, so like I said, well, it still has the tag on it, I guess. So yeah, would that be looked upon as cheap or skating out of an obligation? Maybe that's the implication. I don't know. Gift cards to places you never go to. So I guess there's that. I guess that makes sense. So if you don't like to go out to eat at a restaurant and you are and that is known, that's the only thing I can think here. Then that's known, and you are given one by someone who also knows that you don't like to go out and eat at restaurants. Okay, I guess that makes sense.
Still, I'm trying to do the mental gymnastics to put myself in whoever wrote this list.
Yeah.
I can only imagine it was written in all caps late at night.
It definitely could be. Definitely could be. So this, like for instance here, when the giftee is known to be on a diet. Okay, I see. On a diet. Or flower arrangement classes for someone who's allergic to pollen. Okay. These are some very, very linear, specific kinds of things. I mean, that seems very interesting. And that has the next one. Chocolate from brands that no one's heard of. Which I disagree with that.
I do.
Our small businesses.
We can put our foot down here.
Family businesses. I completely disagree with it. I don't know why it has to be Mars or Hershey. I don't
Absolutely.
know if there's anything wrong with Mars or Hershey. Or anything right. It's not a buy, sell, or hold recommendation for either one of those companies. But I thought that was very interesting. For chocolate, why chocolates? Like what is so specific about? Anyhow, kind of fun. A little bit anecdotal here, talking about what the consumer may or may not buy for this Christmas season. You're listening to Dollars and Cents here on WSIC News Talk Now.
More of Dollars and Cents with certified financial planner Joshua Dobi is coming up on WSIC.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. From December 24th through January 1st, WSIC will be playing Christmas music all day. And we can't forget about the last few Panthers games of the season. See you in 2024. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and cheers to the new year from all of us at WSIC. Celebrate Kane Center for the Arts' first anniversary gala, along with Broadway star Mandy Gonzalez. Dinner and a show, January 6th at Kane Center for the Arts. You may remember Mandy Gonzalez from her roles in Hamilton and Wicked. This is a black tie optional celebration. All-inclusive tickets include dinner and the show. Happy anniversary, Kane Center. Visit kanearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. Want to see more than 5 million Christmas lights at one time? Speedway Christmas is back. Happening daily, the amazing Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway is happening now through January 7th. The show is open 6 to 10 p.m., rain or shine. The Infield Christmas Village is open Thursday through Sunday nights. Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway, now through January 7th. For tickets, visit charlottemotorspeedway.com. Santa is here. Schedule your time to take pictures between now and Christmas Eve in Birkdale. Appointments include Time with Santa and 8 digital images from the professional photographer. For more info and to schedule your time with Santa, visit birkdalevillage.com. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. We're expecting partly sunny skies through the remainder of the day. High temperature this afternoon, 55 degrees. Heading into the evening and those overnight hours, clouds will continue to roll in. We're expecting cloudy skies with a low temperature right around 31 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Like a present that keeps on giving. WSIC.
Dollars and Cents continues now. Here's your host, certified financial planner Joshua Dobi on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Hello and welcome back to Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial. I'm your host, Joshua Dobi. Thank you so much for hanging with us. Fourth quarter football reference. It's football time. Our Panthers, I mean, I'm feeling it. Now, I know some folks who are going to the game this weekend because they're playing the Packers, and they may or may not be Packers fans instead of Panthers fans. I'm going to set that aside for just a moment. It's an opportunity. I think we're going to fill up stadium. I think probably a fair chance we're going to have more Producer Bill in the stadium this week than we did last week.
I certainly hope so.
I hope so, because I was getting pretty tired of the television shots showing all of the empty seats at Bank of America Stadium. So looking forward to that. It's supposed to be good weather. Take a look at it if I don't even know if there are tickets available. Like, Packers fans travel well, folks. They do. And so you're going to want to take a look if that's on your radar screen. They're playing on Christmas Eve. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. All right. And we were going to break there. We were talking about some anecdotal kinds of things, gifts that nobody wants. Now, I did get a note here from the chief while we were on break that, and this is not advocacy for Wendy's, although I do like their hamburgers. But Wendy's apparently selling $3 keychains that get you free Junior Frosties for a year. I mean, really? So for $3 you buy a keychain and you get free Junior? I mean, he
was super excited about that this morning, actually.
Is that okay? So I did not hear him. So I see, if I'd have been listening to Good Morning Elkan, which you should do, 7 to 9, Monday to Friday, every single week. Make sure that you tune into them. See, if I'd been listening, I'd have known that. So I mean, $3 keychains and you get free Junior Frost. I mean, that's I don't know.
Sign me up.
I mean, there's got to be a limit on that. Like, if I go 4 times a day, they're going to give me four Junior Frosties. I mean, I'm willing to test that limit.
Right.
I'm willing to have someone say, "Sir, you can no longer."
Right. I'll go to the loony bin with you. I'm right there with you.
Ever come back to request your Junior Frosty because you bought a $3 keychain. So there's a reason you're going to want a keychain, right? Especially if you like Frosties from Wendy's. All right, let's get into it here. Fourth quarter. I want to talk on here a little bit on the markets, but also want to talk about the kinds of things that we've been experiencing here just over the course of 2023. This is more of a list kind of format. It's not the kind of thing where we're going to get real deep into it. This is the time of the year you hear all kinds of lists, the year in review sort of thing. We're not going to get too deep into that, but we definitely want to touch on some of the big stories that we had this year. Before we do, though, the markets, pretty amazing stuff. I mean, outside of yesterday we had a pretty notable pullback as of the time of this live broadcast or this recording podcast, if you happen to be listening to it. But we had a pretty notable pullback yesterday. But outside of that, gosh, it's been, as measured by our most popular indexes. I'm not looking a gift horse in the mouth, no pun intended, especially this time of the year. But very interesting to see how the markets have moved in very positive directions here over the last 6 weeks. Now, most likely, and I'm being a little bit suppositional here, but I don't think I'm stretching out too far on the proverbial branch, that because the Federal Reserve has indicated that they are probably at the end of this raising cycle, and at least initially, we're talking about rate cuts, but then literally within the next 48 hours, several of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors came out and said, well, we're not saying we're going to do it, so don't get too excited about it yet. And those are my words, really encapsulating what they had said. So I think that's wise. You heard me say that last week as well, when it was put out there, postulated that there would be 2, 3, 4 cuts next year from some of the inclinations from the Federal Reserve Board. That's way ahead of being able to anticipate that for this coming year. So we'll see when we see. We got to get 6 to 9 months out just to figure out what in the world all this means from an economic standpoint first, before we can really talk with any legitimacy about cutting rates. But the market kind of took off on that, and it was taking off before then, I think, in anticipation of that, and it has really been quite strong. So take a look at your portfolios, take a look at your 401ks, take a look at your investments. Make sure that you're not out of kilter, meaning as far as your allocations are concerned. If you've had some big winners this year, congratulations. I love that. But make sure that you're not taking an unnatural amount of risk, even without trying, because you get some big winners in there compared to some other things in your portfolio, which may be more modest or even negative in return, and you may be overweighted in one particular holding, fund, ETF, stock, bond, etc. So you want to take a look at that. You want to make sure that because there's another side to this hill. I know I'm a glass half full kind of guy as well, but there is another side to this hill, and there will be corrections, and there will be pullbacks, and there will be the kinds of things where we return more to the mean than where we are right now. So this is the time. Do it into strength. You hear me say this whenever the market goes up. Do it into strength. Do it at a time when the market's doing well. It's the most powerful time to be able to reallocate your portfolio, so make sure you do that. All right, looking back, 2023, some of the big news stories that were out there. And I'm going to start with one that's okay, not all that fun, but was huge, and in many ways still is huge as far as the impact on our financial system. Not because the financial system is in danger, but because of the ripple effect that it was through the system, especially as it was happening. And that has to do with the FDIC takeover of Silicon Valley Bank, SVB for short there. It took place at the end of the first quarter of this year. Now, I should also tell you that the FDIC takes over several banks every single year. I mean, there was one year, I want to say it was 2005, within the last couple of decades, where there was not one bank taken over by the FDIC, but generally speaking, 1 to 5 banks every year being taken over by the FDIC. So that's not an unusual kind of thing in that it never happens. What was a little bit unusual with SVB was the size and the players involved. $200 billion bank, and it really caused a shudder through the financial system, especially when you're looking at regional bank stocks. So not just regional banks that were close to SVB or had business relationships with them, pretty much the whole sector. And it really put a chill into the system. And to the extent that with many of those banks, they have not recovered. Now, some of them are, meaning some of them are back to pretty much where they were before SVB's collapse and First Republic's collapse, again, taken over by the FDIC at that time. But some of them are getting back there, but some of them are not. And so a lot of effect in terms of the financial system, some concerns about the financial system. Yes, largely abated, but still a big story in 2023. All right, this next one. When you talk about economic impact, I'm going to be hard-pressed to find a single person that's had a larger financial impact than Taylor Swift. I think I just need to say the name Taylor Swift several times, and I think our listenership's just going to go up. I think it just right. I mean, that's all I have to do. So talk about Taylor Swift, or say that Taylor Swift's going to call. She's not going to call in. She might, but I doubt it. Anyhow, the only reason I'm bringing her up, went on tour, Eras tour this year, live tour, and in addition to the tour, then we had this movie thing. And I'm uneducated. What are you guys? Uneducated and uninformed.
Correct.
That's exactly what I'm uneducated and uninformed. But I am somewhat educated and somewhat informed by what I'm going to say next. Her tour, the music tour, $1 billion in terms of revenue for her. $1 billion for I mean, there was a time. I want to say that the Rolling Stones. Now, the Rolling Stones go on tour quite a bit. They've had a last tour, I don't know, about 8 or 9 times now. But I remember looking at a Rolling Stones tour, and they grossed $200 million, and I thought that was just off the charts. It was unreal.
And it is.
And I think it is.
Right.
5 times that. 5 times that with Taylor Swift. And that we're not talking about the economic impacts. I told you this earlier this year. She moved the GDP. Literally, her tour moved our national gross domestic product in terms of the ripple effect of travel, of hotels, of restaurants, of retail, of goods, especially when you add in the movie experience. I mean, I don't know about you, but I was looking at folks, they're buying outfits to go to the movies.
Right.
I mean, again, she figured it out.
She has it.
I mean,
she has it.
Just like the folks I know who took December off, they figured it out.
Right.
And here, producer Bill and I we're sweating it out right to the bloody end. So, anyhow, $1 billion impact. That's a huge story. AI, artificial intelligence, huge story this year. ChatGPT getting a re-release, certainly from Microsoft, huge deal. OpenAI became the company OpenAI became almost a household word for those of us in the investment and economic universe, just because of its impacts almost immediately on so many areas and so many folks, positive, negative, and sideways on it. This is going to be an evolving story. How much is it going to impact us? How much is it going to provide challenges? Moral hazard kinds of things. It's out there. How are we going to answer those kinds of questions? It's probably going to be an evolving kind of thing, just like it has been to this point. But a lot on that this year, really splashed on the scenes. Some movement in terms of executives between OpenAI and Microsoft. I think Microsoft ended up on top of that. Certainly it seemed like that after everything was done shaking out there. Very, very interesting to see that kind of thing. But it's, again, big AI out there. Inflation and certainly with interest rates. Next big news story for the year. We've been talking about it pretty much nonstop. And so when we're looking at where inflation is now, we're looking at where interest rates are right now, I think we can say with some legitimacy, the Federal Reserve did what it intended to do. It intended to knock down inflation by raising interest rates. I think it's been very interesting to see how in doing that we have not had unemployment increase during that time. That usually and customarily is what happens. That may happen yet. It's actually one of the things at North Main Financial. We're watching that for 2024, maybe even with some level of anticipation associated with it. So we're watching that kind of thing very closely. But certainly when we're looking at inflation and interest rates, some historic highs in terms of where things have been and how much it increased in a short amount of time, and then how fast and how much the Federal Reserve increased interest rates during these last 20 months as well. So big story there. Student loan repayments starting in this past October. That's big. We still don't understand the net effects of that yet, and certainly when I saw some reports about just the headaches and the mess that has just been the restart process, about incorrect draws out of borrowers' accounts, and a lot to go on there. But nevertheless, still a big story, still going to impact the consumer. It'll be very interesting to see how that happens in 2024. Well, folks, here in the last several seconds, I want to take some opportunity to thank you for being a listener to Dollars and Cents this year. Really do appreciate the time that you take here on Thursday afternoons to tune in and to listen to all things economic and financial. I appreciate you so very much. I hope you have a terrific holiday season, a wonderful new year. We're really looking forward to being with you here in 2024, here on WSIC News Talk Now.
Happy holidays.